Hey everybody, Luxinda Swirl here. We are back in the craft room. I am so happy about that. I will be doing a tiny, very short little new room tour thing in a different video. But for today, I am so far behind on all the February subscription and mystery boxes that I've opened already. But now I need to actually do some projects. I've only done one so far because it didn't require any resin work. So I could do it out in the kitchen. But I'm back to doing resin stuff. This is from the February Resin and More premium box. I've been racking my brain to try and think of something slightly different to do because, you know, I could just put resin in here, put the lights in here, drop some alcohol ink in here. And I want to do something just a tiny bit different. So what I came up with, and again, I have not tried this yet, so we'll see how it turns out. I am going to use these products that I have here. I'm going to use my Daler Rowney pearlescent liquid acrylics in Rouge Hot Mama and Rose Platinum. Then I have a different liquid acrylic. This is Dr. P.H. Martin's Iridescent Calligraphy Colors, which I think is also an acrylic ink, I think these are approximately the same thing. These tend to be more pearly and shiny. These tend to be a little less so, but it's the same basic idea. And I have this in silver. So I'm trying to stick with Valentine-ish colors here. And then I also want to try some of my Stickles, which I absolutely love. Glitter glue, basically. These are from Ranger. I got them from Joggles. I will link to everything below and where I got it from. So I have Unicorn, I have Thistle, and I have, what is this, Sorbet. And there were some others I considered, but I'm not trying to overload my mold here. So what I'm going to do is put these items in the mold, let it dry thoroughly. The next step will be me pouring a very, very, very thin layer of completely clear resin on top of everything. And I will let that cure, and then I will bring you back for the next step. But we have to get through this first. And since I've never done this before, I don't know how it's going to go. Some of these places look like they'll be easy to fit the Stickles bottles in. Others maybe not so much, but this is a very, very flexible mold, which is important for being able to get the piece out at the end. So I'm hoping I'll be able to manipulate and therefore get some different things in here without too much trouble. So I am not an artist by any stretch of the imagination in terms of fine art and drawing with my hands. So I'm just gonna squirt these in and go for, you know, maybe ooh, that makes an interesting noise. Go for maybe some sort of interesting little pattern thing, but you know, don't really know what I'm doing here. We're just going for something a tiny bit different, whatever that means. What? And then I could drop it. That would be interesting, huh? Now, like I said, this is going to dry completely. I'm going to pour a very thin layer of clear resin in here to cover basically what we just did, and let that cure, and then I will bring you back for the next step after that. So stay tuned. And we're back. All right, so I did as I said I would. I poured about an ounce of clear resin in here. I spritzed it with 91% isopropyl alcohol after I was done pouring it because I didn't want to dip even a long-necked lighter in there and possibly injure my mold. All right, so now all the stuff I put in at the bottom has been covered up with resin. So now I'm going to do the Battle of the Fairy Lights dance. I have seen a number of people struggle, especially with this mold or a very similar love mold, in trying to get these lights in and stuck in place. My idea here is to try and get them in place, and then I am going to pour another ounce of resin to hopefully not totally encase them or cover them up. That's not going to fill the mold, but it will certainly surround some of the lights and hold them in place. Wrapping them around some long, thin, round thing like that provides a certain amount of control, so they're not flying all over the place like they are right now. The trick is, of course, I have to get them untangled first before I can do that. It's still a little light heavy over here, but I don't care at this point. I'm just thrilled that it's all in there. All right. So now I'm going to mix up another ounce of clear resin. I'm going to pour it in, and along with that, I'm going to pour in some. I love these. I'm so into holographics. I just think it's beautiful how you can get an entire rainbow in one color, basically. So I will add some of these in, and I will let that cure, and we'll come back for the next layer, which will probably be the final layer, but I'm not entirely sure about that. First things first, let's get the layer in that goes with these lights. So stay tuned for that. And we're back. Okay, so here's where we are. We have 2 layers of epoxy resin in here. The first layer was just clear, covering up some different things I put in colorant-wise. And then I did a second layer to receive these holographic hearts that didn't actually want to go into the mold, but are mostly still sitting here on top of the mold. I got some in there. And also to tack down my lights, which are still in there and still functioning. Yay. Now I was thinking I would, because some of the initial colorants that I put in the very bottom, which will be the very front, are iridescent or pearlescent. So I was initially thinking about putting the final layer would be black, opaque, so that it would make the iridescence shine more in the front. But I figured, you know, this is a red basic concept here, seeing as how, even though this is the end of February, this is intended for Valentine's earlier in February. So I just continue with red, and I was going to use this particular glitter, the Lucky in Love. It has red hearts in it and fine red metallic glitter. I was thinking about using that for the final layer, along with some red. I have some Resin cadmium red alcohol ink that would make the final layer very red, but still sparkly from the glitter. And then I thought, well, yeah, I could do both, sorta, kinda. So I'm gonna use the Resin red, but I'm also going to cross subscription boxes here. I have my Crimson Glory chunky fine blend from Mr. Nola's Glitters Wanderlust box from February. This is, for those of you who may not have seen that unboxing where I show these, this is a chunky red glitter, but it has fine black glitter mixed in. So I get the red and I get the black all together. Isn't that cool? So we have red ink, red and black glitter for our final layer. I think 2 more ounces should more than be enough. So I may end up having a coaster overflow mold. But basically that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna mix up some resin. I'm gonna put these 2 things in it and I'm gonna pour it, and we're gonna come back and demold the whole thing and see how it looks. It's been a long time coming for this particular project, but by golly, we're gonna finish it. So sit back and watch me do the resin part, and then stay tuned for the big reveal. And we're back. Okay, let's see what we got. I'm really interested to see how this turns out. I don't think it's going to be any great work of art, but I am interested to see how it turns out. All right. It is cured, it is hard. So now, still works, the light still works, so that's encouraging. Huh, there we go. Okay, now, and we will try to unmold. Oh, it's gonna come out really easily. I like that. I like that in the resin piece. I did spray this mold with a bit of mold release way back before I started the project, which at this point was a long time ago. I'm filming on February 27th. I started this a couple days after I got the Resin and More box. So I kept forgetting about it, and it had multiple layers. Yay! Oh, there it is. Let's see, we do have a little bit of color left in the mold. Looks like there's some, oh, actually that's on the outside. Okay, scratch that. That's not a problem. Don't scratch. Bad thing to say. That's not a problem. I thought there, oh yeah, here we go. This is just a little bit of whatever colorant that was I used. Is left on the inside. One of the pearlescent inks or something like that was left on the inside of the mold. But other than that, not a problem at all. Came out great. All right. There we go. Okay. So this is how she looks. I knew it wasn't going to be any sort of work of art when I dropped all those inks and things in there. You know, I mean, I was just dropping them randomly. But I think it's pretty, and I love the holographic parts. Okay, let's turn it on and see how it looks lit up with our red fairy lights. Ready? Ta-da! Very pretty. Very pretty. I'm gonna try and bring you in for a close-up. Actually, you know what? Hang on a sec. I'm gonna take you down for a close-up. There we go. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay. I will say, even though it's not a work of art exactly, with any sort of, you know, fine artistry, because again, blobs of ink, that's pretty much what I put in there to start. I think it's gorgeous. And it's different, certainly one of a kind. I could never possibly recreate this. And I don't know if I'd want to, but I love how it looks. We will take this out and I will put it on a tabletop and we'll take a look at it there, so stay tuned. But I will say now, stay safe everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Don't go away. And here it is. It doesn't look drastically different than it did before, but this is on my shelf. And we shall now turn on the lights again. There it is, folks. Woohoo! Happy Valentine's Day! 3 weeks late. This was a fun project. I should do these more often. I'm not sure if I'm going to do something else from the Resin and More February box or not, but stay tuned to see if I come up with an idea. Thanks, everybody.